Lads, welcome back to Fusion YGO. I have returned. I am back from my hiatus. I took a week off. I needed to refresh my batteries and recharge myself, and lots going on in the real world for me, so I wanted to, bring you guys the energy that you deserve. So I took a week off, and now I'm back. And that's the end of that story. Anyway, let's go back to talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! So we got a discussion coming up later this week that you're going to really like, but I wanted to do a deck profile on Orcust today. This is my first iteration. I've been doing a lot of testing with it and a lot of shenanigans with it, if you will. The deck is crazy. The deck does a lot of really cool things, really unfair things. It does not have Dragoon in it. Spoiler alert, I don't have Dragoon in this deck, but I really am a big fan of it. It's more of a budget option. But the deck is crazy. It's super fun, so I hope you guys look forward to that. And yeah, we'll bring you guys some good content here soon, okay? But I mean, I feel like I've become the Triff Gaming of Orcust, and I'm okay with it, baby! I'm just kidding. It's a good deck, but I'm not going to tell you, all the time, it's Orcust best deck! Ugh! Throwing things and freaking out. It's a good deck. It's a lot of fun to play. So we're going to dive right into it, okay? We're going to have some fun, and we're going to talk about Orcust without Dragoon in the current format. Let's dive into this deck profile, shall we? Lads, alright, so we're beginning the deck profile now. So, this is only going to be main and extra. We are not going to go over the side deck today because it's still a work in progress. So we'll start with the Orcust package, triple copies of Girsu. Let's zoom in on that, shall we? Let's go the right way. Alright, triple copies of Girsu. Girsu is now a necessary starter for the deck, the way the deck is designed. Being able to dump one, but it also works as an extender, just the way the deck operates now. So, triple copies of Nightmare. You want to see an Orcust name in your starting hand, along with one of your ways to dump. So you've got a bunch of different ways to do that. The more you see, the easier and the better your combo tree is going to end up being. 2 copies of Orcust Symbol Skeleton. Monster Reborn, card's crazy. 2 copies of the World Wand. It keeps your resources alive. 1 copy of Brass Bombard. Bombard is actually a lot more important in this deck. You are not running Halki Fibrex, so don't get that in your head. But this card does give you the option of, it's another starter if you open it and Girsu, for example. It's a starter card, making Link Karibo and things like that. It's a really good card, and if you have Scrap Recycler, instead of dumping in the normal combo tree, instead of dumping the Nightmare, you'll dump this Brass Bombard, and then Bombard will let you summon out Girsu. Girsu will then dump Orcust Nightmare, and your plays go off as normal. You're just able to do things a little bit more concisely with better deck thinning. 1 copy of Gizmek Orochi, the Serpentine Sky Blaster Slasher. It's the honorary Orcust card. This card's crazy. It is really important because of Zeraboros. That's why that card is super important to run in the deck. Then 2 copies of Orchestrated Return. It's a draw 2. It's really the only reason, and it doesn't cost you anything really. If anything, it helps you. 1 copy of Orchestrated Babel. Babel is another necessary inclusion in the deck. It makes everything fast and quick effects. And 1 copy of Crescendo. Crescendo just allows you a counter trap, a searchable, settable from deck counter trap. And that does it for the Orcust cards. So this deck is a little bit bigger than some. It's, I think, 42 cards, and I run a pretty large, sizable Orcust package because I think that the Orcust cards are just crazy, personally. Alright, next up is your Scrap package. So triple copies of Scrap Recycler. Recycler dumps 1 from deck. 1 copy of Scrap Golem, and 1 copy of Crystron Rosenix. Okay, so Rosenix is your new Jet Synchron. It just summons something, it's a dump that summons something from your deck, or for free. It gives you a token, which allows you to link summon with Scrap Recycler into Wyvern, and it lets you just kind of take off on all your plays. It's just really important. Scrap Recycler, obviously one of the best starter cards in the game. And Scrap Golem is not a hard once per turn monster reborn, which is cray-cray. And that's the scrap package. Now on to the other dump cards. We are running, oh, I threw that. Dark Grepher, Armageddon Knight, and Reinforcements of the Army. These 3 cards allow you more cards to dump. They are searchable, and the important part is that their attribute is dark. We are not running Allure of Darkness. You can run, so I have them right here. I am still fighting between running it at 44 with double Allure or 42 and no Allure. It's kind of like, it's a gambling game for me at this point. But these 3 cards are absolutely necessary. It's incredible. More deck thinning. And this is a special summon, so you can use this to dump 2 cards out of your hand to be able to summon it as an extender, which can be really important. Alright, and then the Dangers. Danger Will Robinson. We've got Danger Jackalope, Danger Tsuchinoko, Danger Nessie, and a Danger Mothman. It's running 4 Dangers. I don't like running only 4. I really wish that these were at 2, but they're not, so that's all I can do, is wish. But Jackalope, Tsuchinoko, Nessie, and Mothman all at 1 is actually perfectly fine. You could bump up Mothman to 2 if you so desired, but I don't run any rank 4s in the deck, so it doesn't come up as necessary. Because the only rank 4 you'd want to run in this deck is Azathoth. Is the Azathoth package, I guess, better said. So these give you free extenders. It can actually help you unbrick. And the best part is if they stop your Armageddon Knight play to dump, you can freely use this to get these to get bodies on field, to be able to extend out your plays, to be able to actually end on a board that's at least fairly substantial. All right, next up is the Phantom Knight engine, because of course there's a Phantom Knight engine. I would be silly not to run it. So 2 copies of Silent Boots, 1 copy of Ancient Cloak. Okay, so I think I've always found this ratio to be correct. If you go back and watch old videos of mine on Orcust, whatever variant I was playing at the time, this is always the number I always ended on, because it's just solid. If you draw into this for whatever reason, you have a bunch of ways to discard it. It's not a problem. And then you're able to dump this for free from Bardiche. You're able to discard this to be able to search the other one still. You're able to get double searches and end on stuff engraved to be able to recycle your cards. It's just a really important. I think 3 is the correct number. I think it's 1, 2. And this could ultimately change with the release of, I think it's Rising Rampage is the name of the set. Next up is 1 copy of the Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic Launch, because we are playing the boy, which you will see in the extra deck. 2 copies of Fogblade, because Fogblade is it's a really versatile card, because it stops your opponent from attacking it. So you could use this on your own to wall up for a turn when, for whatever reason, if they can't break your board but they have something bigger than Rusty, this gives you a way to protect Rusty and protect your life points so that you're able to play into the next round with a creature on board that you can very easily play around the Fogblade, get the Fogblade off the field, and trigger effects. Pretty crazy. And the last card is 1 copy of the Phantom Knights Shade Brigadine. Brigadine is just an extender for the deck because it's a dark monster, and Rusty doesn't require it to be an effect monster. So, good stuff. All right. Next up is just your generic spells and traps and things that your deck uses. This could ultimately change just depending on what you have budget for, but we'll start with the World Legacy Succession. Succession is Monster Reborn that is searchable, which is important. Monster Reborn. It is an extender for this deck. You need as many extenders as you can possibly get. That's why we're running the Dangers. That's why we're running the Dark Grepher, Armageddon Knight, Rhoda. That's why we're running as many. All the things we're running is all for extra extension. I took the generic Warrior Turbo idea and just kind of put it to this. 1 copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish is, again, just a way to start the deck off. If they stop your Armageddon Knight with an Ash, now you Burial, and there you go. Triple Tactics Talent. If you have more of these, I recommend running these. This card's insane. I don't know if I'd main more than 2. I think 2 would be the perfect number. If you have 3 of these, I would cut Orchestrated Return down to 1 and put this up to 2 because of the versatility of this card. Card's insane. And then triple copies of Infinite and Permanence. Imperm is it's the only hand trap in the deck that you can set, so it doesn't conflict with the dangers, which is incredibly important. And it's another monster negate, so you can end on a lot of interruptions, which is always super handy. And that does it for the main deck. Let's go ahead and get into the extra deck. So, things can change. You can actually do a lot of things with this. I'm going to give you some options right out of the gate. So triple copies of Galatea. I wanted to be able to play all 3 of my ulti Galateas. That's really the only reason. You can obviously sub out one of these for like a Barricade Borg blocker. And if you do that, you can actually change the entire composition of the deck to be even larger, but put in 8 of the most explosive cards in the game in the Machina package as well, and the deck gets absolutely bonkers at that point. But I really like just being able to flex on people and show off my shiny Galateas. If you're new to the channel, this is my favorite deck of all time. So I'm spending time, money, blinging this deck out as much as I can. So I had to play the Galateas. But Galatea you can substitute, like I said, for a Barricade Borg blocker, and then you're able to change out what you have in the deck overall, which is pretty cool, actually, that you can change up the deck with just 1 extra deck spot being changed. Or 2, depending on what you want to go with, but it just, like I said, it depends on what your ultimate strategy is. We got 2 copies of Dingirsu. I only have 1 ulti of this, so ignore that. But the Dingy is absolutely incredible. You abuse this card with this deck. This card is, like, it's a very powerful and abusive card on its own. Let's just be frank for a second. But not just being frank, also being Frank's wife, Hillary. Frank's wife, Hillary, also thinks this card's insane. So it's incredible. You'll love Dingy. You just abuse the ever living out of Dingy. 1 copy of Longirsu. Longirsu is spot removal, and like it's non-targeting, and it shuffles it away, and it's just incredible. And Longirsu, he's a big old boy, so big old boy is nice.
Hello. How are you?
1 copy of True King of all Chlamydia. Chlamydia here is incredible for turning off turns, and you can summon it during your opponent's turn, popping cards, and just abuse your opponent's game state. Next up is the rest of the Link monsters that your deck needs to operate. 1 copy of Link Karibo. Link Karibo, you just summon off the token that Girsu gives you, which is nice. 1 copy of Scrap Wyvern, which, going second, this card actually becomes even stronger because it pops a card on your opponent's field, which is always just super bueno. Everybody likes popping cards in your opponent's field for free, just to do your normal plays. 1 copy of IP Masquerena and 1 copy of Lib. IP Masquerena just lets you link summon into like Zeraboros or even Access Code Talker on your opponent's turn. And if you can do the normal line of play, you'll be able to use these 2 to be able to link summon on your opponent's turn, and this will bounce a card on the field back to the back into the deck, which is awesome. Next up is Rusty Bardiche. Rusty Bardiche is... I'm so excited this card's back at 1. This card took this deck from like a solid like a solid 6 up to a 7.5, 8 on its own, in just pure explosive power. Because being able to use this card's effect when something exceeds monster special summon to a zone it points to, it targets and pops a card on your opponent's field. And with Dingirsu, that gets rid of 2, and 1 of them is non-targeting, non-destruction removal. Absolutely incredible. It also gives you a way to deal with Dragoon as well as back row in a way that, you know, they have to negate something. It's great. It's a great way to deal with stuff. Nightmare Unicorn, shuffling cards back into the deck is always nice, and sometimes you just don't have the resources to make IP Masquerena make a Link 4. And then finally your Link 4s in Topologic Zeraboros, the Wincon, and Access Code Talker, the other Wincon. So this card is great late game, this card is great early game. In the late game, Zeraboros can just clean up shop. Zeraboros is absolutely insane, and partnered with Gizmek Orochi. The card just gets thick. So, super nice. And then Access Code Talker just pops things and it's super aggressive. So it's always nice to have.
More prevalent probably Pokemon just because that's I've got.
And that's going to do it for the Orcust deck profile update. This deck is constantly being updated, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Please scribble. We're nearing that 300 mark, and I want to hit 300 subscribers soon. I don't know if we're going to be able to hit that goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, but if we can, I would appreciate it. So go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Make sure to follow me over on the Twitterville, and we'll see you guys on Friday with a nice, hot discussion.
Really? Yeah.
And until next time, lads, good fun. Have luck.